Switch now to Mayor de Blasio giving his daily briefing here in the city. Let's listen in.
Everyone in the hospitals is going through what a shock this is to them, to go through what is basically battlefield type conditions compared to just a few weeks ago, what was a lot more normal life in their hospitals. Now they're dealing with very, very painful realities all the time, but they're doing it with skill and with passion and with compassion. And we really need to thank them always, and we need to support them, and we need to get them a break and reinforcements and all the supplies they need. And we're going to be talking about that today, the things we're doing to try and reinforce and support our noble, extraordinary healthcare professionals. And what's abundantly clear to me is we've all been focused so much on supplies, on equipment, on ventilators. We need to focus increasingly on our healthcare personnel, both everything they're going through and how we help them now, but the fact also we're going to need a lot more people. We're going to need a lot more highly trained healthcare professionals to get us through this in the coming weeks. I spoke a few hours ago with President Trump and Defense Secretary Esper. And over the last few days, I've been talking to the White House and the Department of Defense about the personnel needs that are facing our public hospitals in particular. And I have asked them for help with additional medical personnel as quickly as possible from our military all over the nation, from the civilian sector around the nation. I've made very clear we're going to mobilize everybody in the healthcare community of New York City, but we're going to need help from outside to get through the sheer magnitude of the crisis ahead. The day that I've identified to President Trump and Secretary Esper and other federal officials that I think is the crucial day to think about is Sunday, April 5th. Meaning, as I've said, we're getting through this week. It's tough. We have what we need for next week, but it will definitely be a very hard week. But after next Sunday, April 5th, is when I get very, very worried about everything we're going to need. The people power we're going to need, the equipment, the supplies, obviously the ventilators. I'll keep updating you regularly about what our situation looks like. But I want to put down that marker right now, and I've put down that marker to the White House, that is a decisive moment for the city of New York. We need to make sure that we can get to that day ready to face the week after that and the week after that as well. And right now we're not there. So, look, I've been trying to work with the President and his team. We obviously have to be, at this moment, working in common cause on behalf of New Yorkers. It doesn't mean we agree on everything, to say the least. But I will always say when the White House does something to help us, I will be thankful and I'll give credit when due. And when I think they're missing something, I'll say that too. I do think the notion that any message is being put forward that this will be over by Easter is just unfair. It's not true, it's not accurate, and it's going to mislead people and raise false hope. I've been honest, as I know the facts to be, that April will be tougher than March, May could even be tougher than April. And if that becomes less true, if things get better, I'll be the first to say it. But I don't want people to think this is going to be easy when it's not going to be. I think people need to be ready for battle, and the hard truth helps people gird themselves for what's ahead. And it is a battle, but it will be over. It will be over at some point in the coming months, and then we'll start that long recovery, but we will come back strong. The numbers, every time I have to tell you about this, these human beings who are afflicted, the people we've lost, it is painful and it's shocking. 25,573 cases in the city of New York. We remain the epicenter of the COVID-19 crisis in the United States of America. I look forward to a day when I can tell you that's no longer true, but today that is true. 366 New York City residents have been lost. 366 of our neighbors have been lost. And I want to note that this is becoming personal for all of us in our neighborhoods. All of us have experienced this pain. And it's coming home, certainly, to our city government, to our agencies that are out there serving people every day. I think you know, just in the last few days, we lost a principal in our public school system, We've lost a custodian who works at police headquarters. We've lost a member of our Department of Transportation team, a member of our Department of Corrections team, and sadly, we are sure to lose more of our colleagues, and that's painful. Some of the most senior members of the NYPD leadership have been afflicted by the disease and are fighting it now. I want to take a moment to just offer my sorrow and condolences to the families of some of our public servants that we've lost. Dennis Dixon, the custodian I mentioned at One Police Plaza. Irene Weiss, a community assistant in the parking meter collections department at Department of Transportation. David Perez, an investigator at Department of Correction. Caius Kelly, a nurse manager at Sinai West. This is not one of our public sector organizations, but obviously our voluntary hospitals to us are our brothers and sisters in arms, and to have lost a nurse on the front line of this struggle is very painful for all of us. And Dezan Romaine, principal at Brooklyn Democracy Academy. Everyone's feeling these losses deeply. We look forward to the day when we don't have to talk about fallen comrades, but that day is still a way off, and we have to be clear about that. The human toll is what matters, and for everyone who says it's about the economy and getting the economy back up, that's just wrong. It's about saving lives first. That's what we believe here in this city. And it's about keeping our hospitals going, keeping our healthcare system going. I want to remind everyone, you cannot have an economic recovery if our healthcare system isn't working. You can't have an economic recovery if hundreds or thousands of people are dying. You can't have an economic recovery if city governments and state governments are going bankrupt. That's the reality we're facing right now. So I want economic recovery, you want an economic recovery, but we better deal with the problem first, and that's my message to the President and everyone in Washington. The stimulus bill voted on today, an important step forward, but we sure as hell need more if we're actually going to stave off the full extent of this crisis, if we're going to keep our city running, all our vital services, our health care running, our state running, our ability to keep our healthcare system intact, our ability to save lives. We are not where we need to be yet in terms of the support we need from Washington. And if that support doesn't come, then anyone who harbors the illusion that we can have an economic recovery is putting the cart before the horse, to say the least. Recovery only comes when our people are whole, our people are safe, our healthcare system has recovered, our city and state governments are working, we're a functioning nation again. That's when we go into recovery. The economic impact, already vast, hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers already unemployed. When all is said and done, I think...
Okay, Mayor de Blasio's daily briefing there, describing, as he sees it, the reality of the moment, the personal pain, the human toll, now saying there are 25,573 cases of COVID-19 in the city, 366 people, friends, neighbors, and family, have died. He says he told the president he expects Sunday, April 5th to be a turning point. He wants to make sure we've got enough people and supplies in the city ready to handle it.